Okay, now in the continuation of last lecture of bending stress, let us have one more problem based on this bending stress. Here in front of you, we have one problem in which a beam of uniform rectangular cross section is fixed at one end and carries an electric motor weighing 400 Newton at a distance of 300 mm from the fixed end. The maximum bending stress in the beam is 40 megapascal. Find the width and depth of the beam if the depth is twice that of width. So this is our problem. Now in this case, you may find that this is the cantilever. In the last lecture, we have seen that it is a simply supported beam. So this is the difference between these two. Now here, let us see what is the data given. Here, the cantilever is subjected to load of 400 Newton at a distance of L 300 mm, allowable bending stress 40 megapascal. So this bending stress given is the maximum, means allowable or permissible bending stress. Important thing is the relationship between depth and width of that cross section is given. You can see the cross section in our given figure. So H is the depth and V is the width of that particular cross section. We know bending stress equal to sigma B, which is equal to M by Z. M is the moment, Z is the section modulus. The moment in the cantilever that we can find very easily. Why? Because the cantilever will feel like this. Now if you consider this cantilever, the cantilever is subjected to load like this, so it will bend. When it bend like this, so upper portion obviously in tension, bottom portion it is in compression. So here the possibility of the failure is directly proportional to the distance. So here when the distance increases, obviously the possibility increases. Maximum distance is 300 mm. So force into distance, maximum moment possible is 400 into 300. So moment directly we got. The second thing is about the Z. So the moment is 120000 Newton mm or 120 kilonewton mm. Now let us go for section modulus of rectangular section. Here that particular beam is having neutral axis as shown in the figure. Above the neutral axis there is a tensile stress, below the neutral axis there is a compressive stress. So that means in our section modulus, depth of that particular cross section is H and base is B. Here you will find the formula for the rectangular section to find the section modulus. Z is equal to BH square by 6. When we say B is the base and H is the height, and there is a relationship between B and H is given. H is equal to twice of B. So that's why the section modulus, if you put that value of H as a 2B inside the given equation, you will find that that is 4B square multiplied by B. So it becomes 4B cube by 6. So from this section modulus, now we can find the value of B. So if you put that value section modulus in our equation, sigma B is equal to M by Z. Sigma B, which is the maximum possible bending stress, so 40 megapascal is the maximum. So moment M divided by 4B cube by 6. Then that gives us the value of B. That value of B is comes out 16.5 mm. So when I know the that particular B, we can find value of H, which is depth of that particular beam, which is 2 into 16.5, 33 mm. So by this way, we can find the dimensions of a cantilever. If we have a cantilever type of beam, which is subjected to some simple point load, then the cross section, it may be circular, it may be rectangular, or it may be anything. The Z value is going to change. So depend upon the section modulus, we can have this kind of dimensions as output. So this completes one simple problem based on this particular bending stress. But in our strength of material, we have already studied if there is a combination of two stresses, that may be direct means direct tensile or direct compressive plus bending. Now, how this particular combination can be studied, or how we can analyze this, that you have already studied in strength of material, but we'll take some revision here, and after that we can go for our various types of joints and levers in our offset links in our second chapter. So here let us take revision on direct and bending stress. Now in front of you there is one simple case shown in the figure. Now if you just take this case, you'll find that there is a force F. The force F is exactly aligned with the lower portion of that particular body. That's why when we say about the first figure, in the first figure you'll find only tensile stress. There is no any other case. But now look at the figure which is given at the bottom side. If the force is shifted with some eccentric distance, at that time the failure is not only tensile. So it has something different than the tensile, because the force is now shifted from axis to some eccentric distance. So at that time, what can be the failure, that we'll see. So now look at the failure. So in this particular diagram, you'll find that there is a first tensile plus bending. So because of that, this particular A and B point are subjected to first direct tension plus some bending. So when it is going to bend like this, so the upper portion A is having direct tension plus tension bending. Why? Because that particular cantilever or that particular bar is failed in a downward direction. So it is bending in a downward position. So direct plus bending tension in the upward side, whereas in the B point there is a tension plus compression bending, because that portion is get compressed because of such type of load. So that means this is the failure that we can say when we say there is a eccentricity between your particular body and the force. If there is no eccentricity, there is only tension. But if there is a slight eccentric distance also, you will find that that particular body is subjected to direct and bending. So again, let us understand in detail. Now let us consider that in our problem, consider equal and opposite forces as shown in figure. So if I put equal and opposite forces on that particular body, it makes no difference. Initially we have one force F at a distance, eccentric distance E. Now I have put one equal and opposite forces as shown in figure along the axis of the main body. So it makes no difference. But Now, as we have equal and opposite forces separated by some distance E, it creates a moment. And one more axial force is left. So you can visualize in the bottom side and the next in the next figure that the eccentric force can be converted into an axial force and moment. So that's why it is called direct plus bending. So whenever there is eccentricity, now you can see there is no force shown, but that force is converted into moment, and the one more remaining force which is left is axial force. So here the axial force create tension, and that particular moment which is because of the force and eccentric distance create bending. So that's why it is called direct plus bending. If you just see the point A, now point A is subjected to direct tension plus direct bending tension. Why? Because it is going to bend. Whereas bottom side B is having direct tension T and minus sigma B. Why it is minus sigma B? Because there is a compression bending. So that's why if I consider, if I assume tension as a positive and bending as a tension as a positive and compression as a negative, then sigma T minus sigma B compression. So there is a tension plus compression, that's why there is a negative. So that means we say that in this case chances of failure at A is more because there is a tension plus tension bending, whereas chances of failure at B is lesser. Why? Because there is a tension, tensile direct tension plus, but there is a negative bending which we say that sigma B compression. So if I think about the total forces here, the total stress is equal to direct stress plus bending stress. Now if you understand this, let us go further. Total stress is equal to direct stress plus bending stress. Now the total stress, direct stress, it may be tension or it may be compressive, and bending stress is also, it may be tensile or compressive. If I say tensile stress, the formula is force divided by area. If I say bending stress, then formula is whatever moment divided by section modulus. So total force in case of direct and bending stress is F by A plus M by Z. So here I have considered only plus sign, but depend upon whether the bending is compressive or bending is tensile, that particular plus sigma B sign is going to change. If there is a tension plus tension, we are going to consider both as tension as a positive. If there is a tension plus bending compression, then we can say FA minus M by M divided by Z. So depend upon the direction of bending stress, we are going to change the signature sign of that bending stress. So this is the total stress that can be possible in direct and bending stresses. Okay, so depend on this particular revision. Already we have studied that in strength of model. So just for the revision purpose, I have taken this. So let us go further. Here, we'll take one simple numerical base on that so that everything is again get clear. So look at that particular problem statement. A steel bracket is subjected to load of 4.5 kilonewton as shown in figure. Determine the required thickness of the section at AA in order to limit the tensile stress of 70 megapascal. So here, if you just see, there is a steel bracket and having 4.5 kilonewton force, and that force is at a distance of 50 from the section AA. The steel bracket is having again 50 as a height or depth and T as a thickness. You can see there 50 by T is the cross section given. Now, as far as given data is concerned, in the given data, you can say that there is a force of 4.5 kilonewton and permissible tensile stress of 70 megapascal. Here, 4.5 kilonewton is not exactly passing through the axis of section AA. It is having some eccentric distance 50. So this is the problem of direct and bending. Now, if it is a problem of direct and bending, we must say that 4.5 kilonewton will try to pull that particular bracket. After that, there is a bending. So here we say that there is a direct tension or compression. So here there is a tension plus bending. So if you just see here, if you visualize that particular figure, you will find that if I try to pull that particular 4.5 kilonewton, then the section of that particular bracket is subjected to tensile stress plus compressive stress at the left side. And if you just see that particular cross section, to the right side of that, you'll find that there is a direct tensile stress plus direct bending tensile also. So there is a combination of direct stress plus bending compression or tension. So the formula is simple, F by A plus M by Z. Now let us go further. Now look at this particular diagram. Here cross section is enlarged. In that cross section, you will find that the cross section is having dimension 50 and T. T is the base and 50 is the height. Along the height, there is a change in the particular stresses. That's why it is called neutral axis. If you just observe it clearly, there is a line neutral axis which is vertical. When the line is vertical, from that neutral axis, there is a tension from neutral axis to extreme position for the right side, and there is a compression because of the bending from neutral axis to the left side of the section. So that's why here, if you just see sigma T plus sigma BT to right side, sigma T plus sigma BT at the left side. So if you just change the sign, if you take tension as a positive and compression as a negative, we have to consider sigma T minus sigma BT. Okay. Now here we must consider maximum. So maximum is sigma T plus sigma BT. Now let us go to the simple direct stress. Sigma T is equal to force divided by area. Area is equal to 50 into T. 50 is the height and T is the thickness. So sigma T is equal to 4.5 into 1000 divided by 50. So it becomes, direct stress becomes 90 divided by T. Now here sigma BT is equal to M by Z and sigma BC is equal to minus M by Z. Here why I am considering minus, because if you just look at that particular cross section, you will find that there is a sigma T minus sigma BT. Just I will make correction also here. Here there is a correction. So sigma T minus sigma BC. So here there is a minus, because why? Because here there is a compression. So sigma T plus sigma BT to one side and sigma T minus sigma BC to the left side. So here plus plus sign is at the right side. So we must consider moment is equal to sigma T plus sigma BT. Okay, so moment is equal to force multiplied by eccentric distance. Eccentric distance, if you just visualize previous slide, you will find that the eccentric distance is the eccentric distance is here. So you can see here the eccentric distance. The eccentric distance is distance from the force up to the axis of cross section. So it is 50. So 4.5 multiplied by 50 will be the moment. So here 4.5 multiplied by 1000. So Newton multiplied by 50 is the moment. Now if you just think about the section models, because section models is required. So neutral axis is vertical. So base B is T and height is 50. So here B, which is equal to T multiplied by 50 square divided by 6 becomes the section modulus. Here you can observe one thing. Whenever we take neutral axis, you must consider perpendicular direction, perpendicular dimension of that cross section is always depth. So here h dimension, which is equal to 50, is perpendicular to the neutral axis. That's why here BH square by 6 comes as a section modulus. If that particular neutral axis is horizontal, in that case the section modulus we have to consider by considering T as a depth. So here neutral axis is vertical. Along the with reference to neutral axis there is a change in the stresses. That's why it is vertical. So Z is equal to BH square by 6, which is equal to T into 50 square divided by 6, which comes out 416.67 T. Now let us put in our bending stress equation. In that bending stress equation, it comes out here we are not considering C. Why? Because only we are considering sigma BT, which is tensile stress. So which comes out 539.99 divided by T when we consider M by Z. So here maximum to maximum, we need not consider minus sigma BC because there is a plus sigma T minus sigma BC. So the stress value comes out at the left side of the neutral axis is lesser. That's why I have cut that C. So sigma BT is only the maximum value that we can add in the sigma T, which is direct. So if you just again say next, so sigma T direct stress is 90 divided by T, and sigma BC here I have considered plus minus both, but out of that we must take plus only. So we must take only plus. So 539.99 divided by T, which is plus. We are not going to consider sigma C. Why? Because so maximum value comes out with sigma BT only. So sigma BC is having lesser value. If I take sigma BC, then the total stress will be sigma T minus. So it becomes lesser. So that's why we are going to consider right side of the section, because there is a possibility of failure when there is a sigma T and T. So both are tension. So sigma T plus sigma BT. So total stress which is permissible is 70 megapascal, which is equal to 90 divided by T, which is the value of sigma T, plus 539.99 divided by T, which is the sigma BT value. So if you add together and if you get the value of T, then T comes out is 9 mm. 8.99 is the exact value. So safe thickness is 9 mm. So by this way, we can have the problem of direct plus bending. Tomorrow we'll go for one more problem on direct and bending, because in the offset link, definitely there is a question on offset link in our exam. So in that you'll find that we have to find the dimensions of that particular bracket or offset links. So this is about the revision of direct and bending. By considering this particular revision, by considering this particular concept, we'll go in detail in our next lectures. Okay, thank you very much.